All right, it's been a pretty Bali heavy podcast, and may as well wrap it up
Bali?
with one Bali fact. When you go to Bali, Uber is banned. So I have a question. Why is Uber banned in Bali? I couldn't
Yeah,
figure it
good
out.
question.
I swear to God. I asked all the drivers, none of them would tell me. There's an alternative app out there called Grab. Now, Grab is their version of Bali. Sorry, their version of Bali, their version of Uber in Bali.
Mm.
Okay. Now, Grab allows you to do a bunch of things that you can do with Uber Eats, etc. You can order food, you can deliver food, you can be like a Grab driver, whatever.
Mm.
When I was there in 2017, Uber was allowed and it was accepted. Not accepted, but there was pushback. Like, don't use Uber. There were signs up with like Uber with like a cross going through it. All this stuff. People were super against it. Grab is more accepted, and I couldn't figure out why. Reading online, the things I've read aren't really true. Some say Uber gave up the space and allowed Grab to buy it. Some say Uber were pushed out. I can't figure it out. But Bali essentially banned Uber because it was sort of imposed by the Bali Province Department of Transportation and the Bali Organization of Land Transportation. I don't know who these lot are, but essentially they said, no, you can't have it. But they kept Grab Car. So Grab just hoovered up the difference on in lost custom, I guess, or like the space available for all those drivers. It's very weird how this happened. I think there was just a lot of resistance to Uber, but not to Grab. And it's very odd because they both do the same thing. Maybe it was a branding thing. I honestly can't seem to figure it out.
So my question here would be, obviously Uber is what's the original company? Is it an American company, Uber?
Uber is American, yeah.
Right, cool. What's Grab? Is it native to that part of the world?
I think it might be native to this part of the world.
That's probably why then. So this sounds like it's like a regulation thing. Like I was at a wedding yesterday and I met somebody who works in-house for Uber. And so she knows all the areas that Uber cover in the world.
Yeah.
And so I was saying it's interesting that they get pushed back on some areas compared to others. But it probably is that, or, this native version, has paid off the right people. So they've got, what are these? When those things go out for tender for contract, they've got the rights to deliver on it. Maybe it's that. Maybe they have control. Maybe the government make a percentage of Grab. The other thing it could be is something like the space has been leased to them from Uber, or like how you have hotels like the Marriott who have like their premium brand Marriott and then have their other brand which is like Ibis. It could just be them, just like in a different native, like you said, branded version that's more acceptable to government people. That kind of thing. Could be a whole variety of things, but I always find it odd. It's one of the things I always check is like, is Uber available in this country when I go to travel?
Yes, it is. It is, yeah.
But it's very odd.
I've just found a quick article on it. Basically, it says cab drivers initially complained about Uber and Grab. Uber got cancelled, but Grab didn't. They banned Uber's operations on the island. And I think it's because here it is. The reasoning behind the ban is that operations are similar to conventional taxis, but they're not held to the same standards. So, for instance, they do not have a tourism permit like other public transportation companies. Therefore, they got forced out and stopped. I think Grab may have potentially kept in that area and just allowed them to keep things running. So
maybe signed off and got all these permits.
And maybe they got all the permits right, and then they were allowed to function. I preferred using Grab compared to a guy on the street, because the guy on the street will bump you. Grab just caps the price and keeps it the same. And the interesting thing is, if you try and use Grab out there and you set your payment device to card, no one picks up your cab fare. The second you change it to cash, everyone picks up your cab fare.
Interesting.
And I was like, I don't think that, maybe there's like, if you do the cash thing, they can pay like a percentage afterwards to Grab for the service. If you take it by a card, the percentage gets cut out immediately and then they only get a little bit afterwards. So yeah. That was interesting.
Yeah. Who was I speaking to yesterday? It's not about Bali, but I got a friend who works a lot in Japan, and he said, so when you think Japan, what do you think? What is Japan known for?
Public transportation being really good.
Yeah, high tech, isn't it? Like one of the high tech places of the world, big buildings. He goes, they have that, and they've had a bullet trains like since the 60s, but then he said there's no like Amazon don't do delivery there. There's no Amazon delivery. There's no Uber Eats. He said there's no concept of meetings are done without laptops. He works in finance. He works in Central Zone 1.
Right.
Like he's on the shit. And he's like, we'll be 2 people in a meeting from our side. There'll be 25 on their side. Everyone needs to be there.
Everyone in the room.
Yeah, like on their side, like it needs to be there every level. It's not efficient. He's like, so there are things which you think what you think exactly like I thought about Japan. Like, oh my, it must be like techie, and they must be so advanced. Even like when I went to America, when I proposed to Shindy, I had like a payment debit card, like a holiday card. This is like pre-Monzo kind of era, and I was like, yeah, contactless. And they're like, what's contactless? America, they're like, yeah, chip and pin. I was like, whoa, that's like really old, man.
Or swipe.
Chip and pin. Yeah, right.
They didn't have contactless in Indonesia, Bali, except for Starbucks. Yeah. Starbucks is the only place that had contactless. Everywhere else wasn't.
Yeah, but again, for a place like that, I still think, from my limited knowledge of that area, I think it's going to be cash based. But America, to not have contactless, to be like, oh, you need to chip and pin. I was like, bro, like, come on, like you're supposed to be whatever the UK is. My expectation is.
Yeah, I think now it is because of Apple. I think Apple Pay changed all that. As soon as Apple Pay came into effect, they're like, it must be compatible, or everything must be updated to a point where contactless is accepted so Apple Pay can work. If they introduced it early with concept without it being accepted, it wouldn't have taken off.
That's true. Apple Pay is a delight, man.
It is, man.
When that option comes up, it's like, yes, don't have to remember anything.
Yeah,
like,
yes. I can just leave my card at home and just take my phone.
Yeah, I don't think I carry my cards anymore. I haven't done that.
No, I still do, just in case like my phone gets jacked or the battery dies or whatever, or if it malfunctions. Yeah,
I have a Shindy for that, so that's her job.
You have a wife for that. I have
a Mrs. Shindy, and you are Mr. Indy.
It's better than being called Mr. Duffu, right?
Well, it's coming up again, man. So we're going to Matera in November, and she's got all the discounts on Booking.com. It's clearly Mrs. Dafu. And so I'm sending messages and asking questions like the hotels from her account. So the reply should be Mrs. Dafu. And it's like, hello, Mr. Dafu. I'm like, how do you know the gender of the person that's contacting you? Like,
because they're assuming it's a man contacting them. That's it.
Yeah. Even though they it's just bad. It's very bad.
This non-binary stuff hasn't taken off over there yet, mate.
No.
When it does, you might get the recognition.
Absolutely.
No, we might not get the recognition. They might, but yeah.
Did we podcast before you went on honeymoon?
Yes, we did. Briefly, like a day before.
We didn't cover Jordan Peterson, did we?
No, but we can do that next week.
We will do it next week. I saw him live. That was something.
Good. We'll cover that next week. Yeah,
lovely.
All right. Cheers, guys. Thanks for getting this far. Quite Bali heavy, quite Goran heavy. Just a good podcast. It was good fun. Back again, and we will see you next week. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Comments are important. Algorithm likes are important. Subscribing is important. You know, it all helps us get traction. Just do everything, man. And while you're at it, say hi. Right?
Yeah, we like that.